Hello, I'm Amelia, and my scenario title is Blind in Your Mind, and it is about the condition called aphantasia. I will be explaining what it is throughout this presentation and going over some common questions. I will try my best to be accurate throughout this. I'm explaining something that I do not have, so if there are a few errors in my explanations, I apologize. But for my original scenario idea, I was going to interview someone with the condition and showcase the questions that they answered. But since I never got the chance to do that, to interview them due to these circumstances, I will be doing my best to answer them myself according to my research. Okay. So first, let's start with what is aphantasia. Aphantasia is a condition where one cannot voluntarily visualize imagery. If you are like me right now, you may be confused and think some people actually can't see anything in their mind. Nope, some people just can't. But if you think it is super weird people can see images in their head, you may have aphantasia. So let's do a little test. Close your eyes and imagine an owl. Oh my gosh, wait. Close your eyes and imagine an owl. Imagine the color, the texture, the size. Imagine it in the most detail you can. Now make it so the owl is flying through the night sky in front of a forest. There are lots of trees and bright stars out. Now, open. Did you see anything like this? Or this? If you saw anything at all, I'm confident to say that you wouldn't have aphantasia. Now, if you saw nothing, that's a different story. You may have this rare condition. It only affects 3% of the world's population, so basically you're just special. But there are also different types of aphantasia. Some people can't visualize anything ever. But others can see images when they are sleeping, but never when they are awake. It's a relatively new condition, so there is not much research on it, so that is the only other type of aphantasia I can explain well, but I'm certain there are other ones. Now that we know what it is, we can talk about these struggles that people with aphantasia go through. Now keep in mind, it is not classified as a disability. There are so many success stories from people with the condition, and the people affected usually find out they have it in their mid-20s, so a little late. So I have gathered that it is hard to recognize faces. They lack skill in math and geometry. I'm assuming it is because they have a hard time estimating stuff based on what they can see and solving equations in their head. Also, I have learned that they tend to stay away from fiction books. It is hard for them to enjoy, of course, but this isn't the same for everyone that has aphantasia. But the majority complain that they struggle in these areas, but besides that, they don't really have any other limitations. Okay. So moving on to common questions. Is it curable? No. There's absolutely no way to cure aphantasia as of right now. Most people don't even want a cure. They think of it as having a new perspective on life. But the next question is, are you born with it? Yes. Most people are born with aphantasia, yet they only find out if they have aphantasia later in life. In one rare circumstance, a 65-year-old retired building inspector went to a neurologist after a minor surgical procedure only to realize that he could no longer conjure images in his head. But now that we are done discussing common questions, I have a list of well-known people with aphantasia. I will list all of them, but I'm only going to be explaining 2 of the people. And you may recognize these people by their names or what they do. Now, well-known people with aphantasia. Here we have Blake Ross, Craig Venter, Ed Catmull, Brian Froud, John Wood Campbell Jr., Oliver Sacks, William James, Mark Lawrence, and Penn Teller. And you could take a minute to pause and read through what they do. So, this is Ed Catmull. He was on the list. He was an animator for Pixar. He's one of the best animators in the history of hand-drawn animation. He has worked with many Pixar films such as Toy Story, Bugs Life, Finding Nemo, Inside Out, and many more. He co-founded Pixar. He is quoted saying, "Although we all have our different thought processes, that doesn't link with the quality of what you produce." Ed said he does not want to view aphantasia as a barrier to his success. And Penn was also on the list. You may recognize him from Penn Teller, the TV show. He's also very successful. He's a famous magician and entertainer. He talked about having aphantasia on his Sunday School podcast, episode 174. By his own admission, Penn says he cannot conjure a mental image of a person or place to save his life. By explaining the success of the well-known people listed, it disproves the idea that people with aphantasia have a disadvantage over others without it. So that was the reason for including that into my presentation. Thank you so much for watching my scenario. I hope you have a great day. Bye.